grader. That's all there is to it.
You got that right.
You just try to decide. Just pick one and go with it, or look what everybody else is doing. Because they change the rules every few years.
Oh, English rules have been changed, 50 million times.
Yeah, they just get updated. And you're like, I'm using the old version. That's it.
That's right. That's right.
We're using the old version. All right. YouTube is on. And we will transition and unmute and say good morning.
Good morning.
I guess everybody now. So, hey, this is Sean with the Atlanta Tennis Podcast powered by Go Tennis. Check out our calendar of Metro Atlanta tennis events at letsgotennis.com. I had someone the other day send out a link of gotennis.com. And I said, no, I don't think that's going to work. We're not allowed to use exclamation points in our URLs. It is Let's Go Tennis. And the Let's doesn't have the apostrophe. So it would be let us. Okay, I'm getting in the weeds here. Letsgotennis.com. And you can get your 10% off as a free member for now, but that goes away soon, probably early 2024. There will be the ability to use the website and premium users, and those will be the two options. Premium users can even get the Daniel Medvedev shoes from Lacoste at 25% off. Today is our week 3 of our 6-week series talking about how to choose the right junior tennis academy. And today's question is a fun one. And Dave says he's got at least one story about this as a player, but also as a coach. We all know this is a scaling issue. So the question is the coach really going to be your kid's coach? So when you go to the Dave Matthews Tennis Academy, do you also have Coach Sean there that might be another coach in that coaching group? Do you have what I say, Joe Tennis Pro, some coach who happens to be an assistant coach that maybe he's good, maybe he's not? We spoke with Marcelo Ferreira at Windy Hill. He says all of his coaches are elite. You don't have to worry about this question. Dave Matthews, when I sign up for the Dave Matthews Tennis Academy, my assumption is I get Coach Dave Matthews. But Dave, that's not true everywhere, is it?
No, not at all. I think, and I'm not one to criticize. I did kind of like as a player, I did exactly what I felt in my heart was the right thing for me. Doesn't mean it resonates with everybody else. I was talking to one of my friends up in Chattanooga, Ned Caswell, great tennis player, great guy. We have this thing, I guess the cliche in the back of everybody's mind is I want to live on the hill. Well, Ned and me both, we're both just homeboys. We're not really looking to live on the hill. We're looking to make a decent living, provide for our family, and whatever me and my wife and family decide they want to do to either help or hurt the cause, that's our choice. But I chose at the early part because of, here we go back to the story I prompted you about was, when I was an older player trying to play out on the satellite circuit, which now that's called the future circuit. My first stop was, we stopped in Macon, Georgia to play the Cherry Blossom Open, which was a money tournament. And a lot of the players heading toward Florida would come down to Macon and do the same thing. So we all played that tournament, hot, heavy tournament. That's in like March. But then we all head down to Greenleaf and we get down there and here comes this 15-passenger van rolling in the first day with NBT on the side, Nick Bollettieri's Tennis Academy. And, we're all like, whoa, Nick's here. And, Nick wasn't there. Nick wasn't on the van. One of his assistants was there, and they had about 15, players in the van. And, the good, bad, and the ugly of it was we had to worry about 1 or 2 of those 15 players. And so, and we learned that the first time because, in the future circuit, they do what they call series. So you've got like 12 courts there at the facility. You've got a series. Every series has 12 matches in it. And as one match comes off, a match in the next series goes right on. There is no 5-10 minutes in between matches. Oh, it's a conservative amount of time, like to the get-go. I mean, they got officials radioing in, telling them when the court's open, get them out here. And if you weren't there ready, your 15 minutes started right there. It wasn't, well, I had to use the bathroom. Oh, no, you had to be ready to play. It wasn't, I can go to the bathroom now and all the, It's court time. And they made sure they used it very efficiently. So, we're sitting there in the first series, and one of the NBT kids runs out there on the court, and he's not late or anything, but he's out on the court, and we're all like, okay, let me see what this is going to look like. And first warm-up ball, the other guy picked it up and hit it over the net to the NBT kid, and whoosh, he whiffed it. And I looked at my partner, and I went, that's what got off that van? And he goes, yeah. He goes, yeah. And we watched a couple more. He made contact the next couple times, but it was obvious that we weren't going to see the Andre Agassi or somebody like that every time we saw an NBT kid. So, it's nothing wrong with it. At some point in time, you have to pay the bills. If you're going to have that big of an academy, there is a monetary bottom line you're going to have to play, to play that game. But, I chose early in my career that was one thing that I wanted to make sure that if I kept the standards high enough, hard enough, that I didn't need to worry about having a player who was indecisive on what they wanted to do at that time of their life. It's commitment. And so, you went through it. You knew the ugly and the upside and the downside to it all. And it doesn't mean I'm better than anybody else. And I never try to make a reputation on we're the hardest academy to survive in. I did what I thought is the overall, I won't say average because I didn't want to average it because sometimes that average is going to hurt the high player playing kids. So I tried to raise everybody's ability in some shape, form, or fashion every time we went out there. And people are like, well, you don't have a sketch pad or you don't have a pad. You've got stuff written down on it. And I go, I remember stuff when I was 4 years old. Don't ask me about my memory. Don't ask me what I'm doing. It's all logged. And is dementia sets in, as old age, is that going to hurt? I don't know. We're going to find out. I'll see if I can tip the scale on how long that takes too. But, I don't try to keep up with somebody else. I don't necessarily criticize somebody for something else, but I think we all can do a better job with a lot of things in society, but being honest and upfront is what I look for more than anything. And if they're not honest and upfront about that, and you commit to whatever the trial period or the intro period is of 3 months or something like that, because you need to give a coach or staff some time to kind of make a justified opinion of is this right or wrong. Then if you're committing to 3 or 6 months, and you get in there the first day and you're shipped down to court number 3 with the third coach, and the coach you thought you were getting was on court 1, you got some waters to tread, and it might take more than 3 or 6 months. And I think they can be a little more upfront, and if not, then maybe I don't want to say try to get your money back, but that's a little, what do we call that in modern days term? False advertising,
Well, and that's what the question is about, is are you projecting yourself as I'm on every court and I'm going to work with every kid? And I don't see it as much now. I think a lot of those bigger academies know that the kids are going to come in and go, oh no, I'm not with Coach Dave, so I'm out of here. And you're going to lose some of the players that fill in the group. And every academy is going to have their best player, and every academy is going to have their worst player. Right. And that's just going to be part of the deal. And I didn't mind being the worst player in your academy most of the time. It encouraged me, and a lot of parents want that because that allowed me to play the better players. And that should be another question we answer at some point.
It is
that whole, I want my player to always play with better players, which is a ridiculous question. So parents, if you're listening, knock that off. It doesn't make any sense. We'll cover that later. But to go in and have all those kids, you're going to have that the players at the bottom court, and their goal is to make it up. And they're going to look up and see Coach Dave on court 1 and work my way there. But if the coach comes in and oversells his involvement with every player, that's really the question. Now, do you
Right.
know what you're getting into? So is the coach really going to be the coach for your kid? You may not know that without investing 3 to 6 months, which is a good idea to invest that time to get to know the environment, which we talked about week 1, to understand the drive time for your family, and realize you're probably not wasting money. You're probably still getting good tennis for your kid. You're getting good experience, whether it's Coach Dave, whether it's Coach Sean, whether it's Marcelo out at Windy Hill or Bobby up in Cumming. You've got these coaches, and we're all pretty good at this. If you've got an academy, you're probably pretty good at something because you've figured out how to get 10, 20, 50 kids and get them working together. So there's going to be some value there. If you feel like you didn't get what you paid for, that might be the different question.
Yeah. I think, like my dad, who played no sports, military man his entire life, first sergeant in the Army, found his calling. And that's kind of where I stand and still stand is I found my calling and how to affect kids at a young age and help them develop into something bigger and better than maybe what they thought they could come out to be. And if you can do that with tennis, and it's like my dad always said, after I was like 17, 18 years old, and then I finally signed a letter of intent for a full scholarship to a junior college there. My mom walked in and went, well, your boy's play paid off. And he had no idea. He's like, what are you talking about? And she said, well, his college education is paid for because he don't play like other people play. And there's a lot of people that play sports now that, well, I saw a percentage the other day. It was kind of shocking, but it's true of how few a percentage of the people that play tennis going into high school, their 4 years, what lower percentage plays actual college tennis? And it's low.
Any level? Like junior college?
Any level. It's still very low.
3%.
Yeah, it's like 3-4%. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa. But it's true. And then you think, how many players actually go to a tournament with money involved as a payoff and win money? 3%? And that percentage is even lower. Is it lower? But it puts it in perspective that you have to be realistic. And my dad, his poignant way of saying things, from a drill sergeant's perspective was, this is the best damn drug I ever found. My son is addicted to this sport. I don't have to worry about him winding up in a drainage system somewhere, wrecked in a car. I don't got to worry about him overdosing. You can't overdose on a sport. You can go hard at it and you can blow yourself out, but you're not going to overdose. And my mom looked at him and went, okay, then just keep sitting back and watching him go because let him go. He's doing fine. And that was a scenario that just evolved from two people. My mom didn't play much sports either. She was a special ed teacher and loved every minute of it, but they didn't know sports. And that actually was a very good scenario for me to just nurture and learn. And I took it to the kilt. And, I think a lot of parents now, I get questions almost every lesson sometime about, I'm looking at a little kid 10 years old the other day, and I'm noticing their grip is changing and this, and this. And I go, so you're changing your grip on your serve. And, it's something they need to do, but we weren't really attacking that right yet. You can only throw so many things at a 10-year-old to change. Very true. So, attention span limits that already. Yep. And so she goes, oh, yeah, I saw that on Google. And I was like, oh, boy, here we go. I said, let me tell you something. You can Google and YouTube all you want to. Just be aware there are lots of people out there throwing stuff on Google and YouTube to just get followers. And it sounds great. And I'm not saying it's wrong. But you need to come ask me so that we can get this on a perspective and when to do it.
Bring it to the coach. Exactly.
That's right.
I've had plenty of YouTube parents. I call them YouTube parents.
Oh
And
yeah.
they have their 9-year-old. He says, "Well, but I need him sliding the foot forward." I'm like, "You need to go be dad. You
That's right.
you need to go sit over there and say, "Hey, Sean, what about this thing I saw on YouTube?" And I'll say, "Okay, let's talk about it not in front of your kids to make sure I don't get condescending. But
Right.
I don't come into your office and tell you how to do your job, right? I'm not on Rocket Lawyer trying to figure out how to tell my attorneys how to do their job. I
You
get it.
got it.
There's a lot of information out there. That's great. But go to your coach. And
Yeah.
whether it's the coach on court three or it's the Dave Matthews of the Dave Matthews Academy, go to your coaches, people. Talk to them. Share this information. You want to be the YouTube parent, that's fine. But be the good YouTube parent that asks the question and says, "Hey, when is my kid going to learn this whole sliding his foot on the serve thing? When is he going to jump into his serve?" That's also testing the coach, because the coach then has to come up with the answer. You can find out if that coach knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'll give an interesting example, even though this is a bit of a tangent from what we're talking about. But when people sign up for Tennis for Children, they don't come in and say, "I expect Coach so and so."
Right.
Because it's not called Sean J. Boyce Tennis Academy, right?
Right.
It is Tennis for Children. There's a reason for that.
Sure.
Because some kids are going to take to other coaches and it's more difficult to scale. Now, the elite academies, everybody wants their name on it. I'm the famous name, Gary Grolleman Tennis Academy. Like, we've got the famous names, and sometimes that works. And if
Right.
your name is Pete Sampras, you can start a tennis academy in about 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you have everything you need. For me, I don't want it to be about me. It has nothing to do with me.
Right.
So when I go to my coaches, who are often assistants, they're not certified tennis coaches, professionals going to do this for a living. They're helping me play with 8-year-olds, and they're really good at it. But if you ask them about a continental grip, they may not have that answer.
Right.
And that's fine. They're going to have you come talk to me, and I'm going to explain why your 7-year-old doesn't have topspin yet. Is because they fall over when they try to hit their forehand.
Right.
And they can't walk and chew gum at the same time because they're not doing enough yoga.
Right.
But you parents haven't
That's
figured out the cart before the horse problem. Like, you guys got to figure this out. And it's one of the things we're going to talk about a lot with the podcast. Go Tennis is helping with all that. And hopefully How to Find the Right Junior Academy will be a good, useful series for everybody, to everybody say, you know what? Let's go take a look at the coaches. Let's check it out. You might have to invest, Dave, I love what you said. You might have to invest 3 to 6 months. And that's okay. It's not going to be a waste of your money.
That's right.
Unless it's complete garbage. And you should have known that ahead of time, because there's plenty of referrals out there. There are plenty of people that know. Now, there's no real Yelp for Metro Atlanta tennis academies.
Right.
So maybe we should start that.
Maybe.
Now, the problem is with Yelp and like anything else, you get more trolls than you get useful information.
Right. Right.
And we don't talk about trolls in tennis very often unless you're talking about professional players. But maybe that's our thing. Maybe that's the thing that comes out of this is, do we need a list of all the academies? I keep coming to that. A list of all the academies. Dave Matthews Tennis Academy, Windy Hill, Windermere, Wiley's got his academy in Decula. So let's take all these academies, put them in a list, and let's get some feedback. What do we think?
Well, the thing I think, back to what you were saying is, here's the part that really blows me away is that what does it cost you to, let's say I'm going to watch Sean, my son, and we're interested in this academy over here, whether it's, Windy Hill, whatever, it doesn't matter. And we've got a couple of our friends or tournament players that have said that's where they go, referrals. And what is wrong with you going over when the drill session is going on and sitting on your rear end with a Coke and watching?
Yeah.
People
go check it out.
Invest 30 minutes of an afternoon that you don't have an academy to go to. And, and even if the kid, obviously, here we go back to our last conversation about the drive time. So if it's within 45 minutes of where you live and you're looking to change academies, What's wrong with you dropping him off at his academy right now, which might be a couple of hours, hour and a half, couple of hours, drive over there, watch 20, 30 minutes of it, and come back. And then get with your kid and go, this is what I saw. Da, 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 da. Your friend is with this coach, not with the top coach. Okay, that's important information. And then you can ask that kid, kind of get that referral going. Why are you not with the top coach? Or is there a pecking order? So you get that valuable information. But, Sean, that takes some digging. That takes some desire. And guess what falls away every time when you go to a new academy and don't get what you like? You fall away because of the desire was not there to find out.
How much time do we spend researching our car?
Oh, man, you ain't like number one. People come up and ask me all the time, how do you find a new coach? I go, ask their credentials. Ask, did they play? Ask, how many kids are in your class? On and on and on. Ask. And we think that we don't need to. It's just turn on the propeller, drop Sonny off, and it's all going to be good. No, it ain't. There's going to be some tough roads because a good coach is going to make it tough on you because that's what pushes you to be better. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, no, that's I did the yeah, no thing. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's fun to think about because it's so frustrating.
Sure.
And to be able to talk about it and say, all right, parents, you spend months researching your car, but you spend 10 minutes on YouTube or Google and you're going to say, oh, well, here's the closest academy. Good luck.
You take your another 12-year-old friend's recommendation over a parent.
There you go.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. Little Johnny says it's great. Okay.
Yeah. Johnny's winning the sucker at end of every session.
Exactly. All right. Well, we will follow up as usual next week because we always seem to tie in last week's conversation with this.
Sure.
And so how to find the right junior academy. In this case, is the coach really going to be your coach? So sometimes that's a sizing issue. So if you're going to go, if you're going to go to Dave Matthews Tennis Academy, good chance there are enough kids there that he's managing the whole thing, not a lot of assistants. You go to Nick Bollettieri, well, that's not a good example right now. He's no longer with us.
Right.
But if you go to Joe Tennis Academy, go to IMG, you're not getting Mr. IMG.
Right.
You're just not.
Right.
There are three guys. You go to Martugalu, whatever the French guy is. He does a lot of cool videos with the little kids. You think that 7-year-old gets to work with Martugalu very often? No. Maybe, because he seems to be the best 7-year-old in the world. Right. But then every parent goes on YouTube and says, why can't my kid do that? Well, that kid plays 7 days a week. Yeah. And he's homeschooled. And he works with the best coach in the world. Well, you got me, and I'm pretty good. But you don't pull your kid out of school to take it that seriously, which I actually suggest. That's just me, my personal opinion. Take him out of school, get him into something, get him playing piano, guitar, get them to learn all the things that they can learn if they're not being told to sit down and shut up for 7 hours a day. I'll get off my school conversation. That'll get some responses. But Dave, I appreciate the time. We will come back and see you next week. Same time, same bad channel. And,
absolutely.
10 a.m. Friday morning next week.
You got it. And there'll be some Christmas decorations. They'll be ready.